Monsoon flooding submerged massive portions of Pakistan. The disaster displaced 8 million people and left the country with over $15 billion in physical damages. When the water recedes, the heat takes over. Temperatures in some regions now regularly hit 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 degrees Fahrenheit, exhausting the population and overwhelming local hospitals. For 240 million people, these extreme weather events have shifted from rare generational disasters to near-annual occurrences. This recurring cycle has placed Pakistan at the center of the global conversation on climate vulnerability. To understand why, we have to look at where greenhouse gases actually come from. Historically, the vast majority of global emissions have been generated by industrial powers like the US, China, and the European Union. Pakistan's contribution is a tiny fraction, responsible for only 0.4% of global emissions, averaging just 0.8 tons per person. Despite this minimal carbon footprint, the Global Climate Risk Index consistently ranks Pakistan among the 10 most vulnerable nations on the planet. This creates a stark paradox. The people suffering the most from a warming planet are the ones who did the least to cause it. The process begins when human activity releases carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. These gases trap solar energy in the atmosphere, creating a warming effect. This chart shows how closely atmospheric CO2 concentrations and global surface temperatures have moved together since the 1800s. As carbon goes up, the temperature follows. This added heat disrupts the global hydrological cycle, the way water moves through our atmosphere and across the land. Pakistan is caught in a geographic trap. The country's lifeblood is the Indus River basin, which is primarily fed by melting snow and Himalayan glaciers. Rising temperatures lead to accelerated glacial melt. In the short term, this sends sudden, massive volumes of water downstream, triggering flash floods that are intensified by increasingly erratic monsoon rains. Further south, the coastline along the Arabian Sea faces a different threat. Low-lying cities like Karachi are increasingly exposed to sea level rise and more intense tropical cyclones. From the high mountains to the coast, Pakistan's varied terrain makes it a target for almost every symptom of a warming planet. Geography is only part of the risk. Pakistan's economy relies heavily on agriculture, which creates a significant vulnerability multiplier. The sensitivity is high. For every 1 degree rise in temperature, national wheat yields are estimated to drop by 6 to 9%. This heat also hits the workforce. About 70% of workers are informal laborers who must choose between losing their daily income or working through lethal heat waves without any social safety net. When climate disasters hit, the healthcare system, which receives about 1% of the national GDP, struggles to manage sudden surges in heat stroke and waterborne diseases. This creates a systemic trap. Weather disasters damage the core economy, reducing the very resources the government needs to protect its citizens from the next event. Facing these risks, Pakistan is moving to adapt its infrastructure. The government's 4RF strategy focuses on building systemic resilience, including new flood telemetry stations for early warnings and the promotion of climate-smart farming. They are also prioritizing nature-based solutions, like restoring mangrove forests along the coast to act as natural flood buffers and protect local biodiversity. While these local projects are necessary for survival, they are competing against the rapid pace of global temperature changes. This has turned the climate crisis into a question of international justice. Developing nations are increasingly pointing to the historical debt owed by high-emitting industrialized countries. At global conferences like COP27, Pakistan has led the call for loss and damage funding, international finance meant to compensate nations for the climate destruction they didn't create. For many, this financial support is the only way to fund a transition to a more resilient future. How should the international community handle the costs of climate adaptation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more deep dives into the global